did you go to U of R film school?
I signed up and then I started working as a camera assistant, like as a camera trainee on movies and stuff. And then I was going to, so I missed the one semester and then I was going to go to the winter semester. And I told the guys, oh, I can't make the next movie, but I'll make the one on the summer. And the camera operator, he came over, Mark DeBrescu, and he smacked me on the back of the head and he was like, what? What are you going to do when you get out of film school? It's like, well, I'll be a camera assistant. It's like, that's what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good question for you. So Nick's a film school dropout. I went to film school. How do you feel about film school looking back at it?
Yeah, like the only thing I would like say about it is I wish like with my perspective now that I could just go do like I don't know if I want to teach a class, but like just like let's like guerrilla style filmmaking because that's what you need to know. And that's the one thing that I thought was maybe missing is like I enjoyed my time at film school and I learned a lot. And like I grew up in a town of 558 people. Like my worldview was pretty small, right? And I didn't know a lot. Like I used to, what was the purple place in the warehouse district that used to sell like DVDs and stuff?
Oh man,
was it A&B Sound?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
A&B Sound, yeah.
So there was one in Saskatoon. So I would go to like when we'd go to Saskatoon like once every couple of months, I'd go to A&B Sound, order DVDs, and then go home. And then when they got them, they'd call me, and I'd have to drive back into Saskatoon to get them because like they didn't have they didn't have like the 1920 version of Nosferatu that I wanted to watch when I was 17. So film school was great for that because like it really opened my eyes to a lot of different things like that. But it's just a personal thing. Like I think you need to be, what we tried to do when we were like in our fourth year of film school was like play pretend. We were like pretending we were a real film crew. We had a DP and all this stuff, right? And it's like, oh, he didn't need any of that. Like don't pretend. Like we just like guerrilla style, like one camera. You don't need a light. Just know how to set your white balance. You'll be fine.
Yeah, come up with the best story and you'll win.
Yeah. I guess, Nick, did you work on Insecurity?
I did.
That's where we saw each other every day for
yes.
I was in the art department, and the only thing worse than the camera department when you're in the art department is the grip department.
Yes, yeah, that was fun. That was a cool show. It was good to.
It's like that was one, and like I don't know if I could never like corroborate this, but like at the time, like they were like that was the most expensive first season of like that was. Maybe it was the pilot, but it was the most expensive or biggest budget first season of any TV series ever produced here.
It could have been because
like their
the
budget
set was
for
pretty
Insecurity
crazy.
was way bigger than
Yeah. So did you do anything? You started so you did art department for the year there, and then what other? Well, then you went off on your own after that. Is that the?
No, like I got kind of like because you don't want to say no to a job, right? You want to keep work like. First time you work at the soundstage, you're blown away, right? Like it's so awesome. And so I worked on the pilot for Insecurity when I was still in university, art department.
Oh, cool. Well, that's a great
still
in university gig. Wow.
Yeah. And then I got the gig on season 1. And then season 2, I didn't get hired because I wasn't union yet. I didn't have a third show to be
you
union.
Didn't have enough. Oh.
So I think Robin Wright took it was he took the position, and then I worked
Sounds like a jerk though.
and then I worked props on Vampire Dog, and then
I worked
that
show too.
Oh, did you? I just did prep, and then I left to go work on Edge of War at Partners in Motion.
Okay, yeah.
And I did.
How was your time at Partners?
Well, I worked on the show, and then I had my company set up by then, so I was like subcontracting through it, and like first year like barely had this company, was getting all this money tax free. I'm like, this is awesome. And then got a tax bill the next year, like, oh yeah, this thing. And then I got hired as like post-production coordinator after the show, so I got to see the show like from start to finish, which was pretty cool. Yeah, then I went and worked in the oil field for a little while. and then I got a job working at like Agile. It doesn't exist anymore. Studio 10, like just doing real estate stuff. And then it just kind of grew from there.
Do you think it's a problem in the industry that, like you said earlier, that you don't want to say no to a job? Do you think that's a problem?
Oh, absolutely. I think it causes more, like, there's like two things. Are you going to put this in the episode? Maybe don't. The two things that I think benefit people the most is charge more and say no more. And I don't know what the magic potion is about that, but like as soon as someone told me that once, and I was like, no, it can't. I'm going to say yes. I was weekends, evenings, all the time, and it was tough, right? Like when I left Studio 10, we had a 6-month-old, and my wife was on mat leave, and she's like, how are you gonna like make money? I was like, I don't know. Just work really hard, right? And then you're just like balancing that fear between like, I need to make money to pay bills and live, but you can't. Running yourself ragged does you no good, because the quality of work fails, right? Like I've had several moments like that, right? Like where I'm working, constantly, evenings, weekends, and then you look back at this stuff and you're like, those projects weren't that good. It's because you can't do a good job if you're, getting 6 hours of sleep, and then like, or even less. I mean, whatever normal people sleep. I 6 hours seems like a lot when I say it out loud.
Oh, that's good. That's wise.
I'm putting that in. I think that's gold. I agree with you 100%. Like that, when I started out, like I didn't know what to charge, but I learned pretty quick that I was getting my ass handed to me. Like I was making like $1 an hour, and I was like, well, this is garbage. And when you compare yourself to other people to see what else is out there, and you're like, okay, well, I'm better than that, so I got to be charging more than that guy. And I slowly like had increased all my prices, and like now I don't care. Like if you ask me, this is my price. And if you're like, ooh, that sounds expensive, you're like, yeah, I'm worth it. That's it. That's the answer, right? Like, so yeah. And with that said too, though, like I don't care. Like I think Nick charges more than me. I'm not sure. I might be misrepresenting that, but let's say Nick does charge more than me. I don't care. I'm not Nick.
No, like it's like sports, right? Like, oh, look at this one. You look at David Pasternak, right? Like for like he makes, pennies on the dollar compared to some other players in the league on my favorite squadron there. So, you compare him to, William Nylander or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're like, does it just be happy with what you signed? If you're happy with your rate as a video person, like that's great. Be happy with it, because it doesn't matter what you charge or the next person charges, or none of it matters, right? Because what I did too, and I still do it to some degree, if it's like a not for profit or something that I'm passionate about, it's like, this is what I charge, just so you know. And if that doesn't fit within your budget, like, let's talk what we can do. And I always try to parse back the work instead of doing more for less, right? Like, it's like, okay, well, we can come out for half a day instead of a full day or something, to try to be flexible. But I'm happy with what I charge, and it doesn't, you can make a list of everyone, and I'm sure I'd be in the middle. Like I wouldn't think I'd be anywhere near the top, like, but it doesn't matter, because I'm happy with it and happy with the work.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree 100%. Charge with what you think is going to do it for you. The other thing too with that, which I found weird. So I was doing like the same thing as you, like that one man band corporate video thing, trying to get things going for, little before your time. And there was a few other people who came like a few years after doing similar things. And like the notion I got from those folks was that there was like this competition between us. Like obviously we both knew we were doing it. I didn't actually really know the people, but whenever you tried to like reach out for something, it was like people were treating you like the competition. It was like, really? There's like 3 of us doing this. Like it's not competition. There's lots of work for everyone here.
Well, even now, like you look at how many companies have employees, and then how many kind of like individual freelancers there are, and how many people have companies. Like there's a lot of people doing a lot of different types of video, and like we're just a small community. Like Nick, you're in Moose Jaw, right? Yeah. So like between like Regina and Moose Jaw, like there's a lot, and like Jeremy Ratzlaff, yeah, Moose Jaw, like you know, between all of us, there's so many people, and don't put this in, but like when I first started doing like the corporate video stuff, I worked with a place that it had that kind of competition mentality where it was like, you know, we got to win this project from this person, and we got to, you know, compete with them. And, you know, I still want to, if there's like RFPs, like I still want to win them. Of course you do. But, you know, I can't, you know, there's too many people for both hands to count all the people I've worked with in the last 24 months. And we do it willingly and openly and honestly. And even like with gear, like there's, you know, probably 4 or 5 people where you need to borrow one of my things. Sure. They're like, what do you want for it? Nothing. I want a favor. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the way to go, because like we're still in this transition with our industry, right? Where some of the people in our industry want to bring film back the way it was like in 2007, 2008, right? And the other half have moved so far past it, they don't look back that way. But we're all kind of in one industry. So how do we kind of bring everyone together to create something that, you know, I know there's like Sympia for the film side. Like there should almost be something for like the corporate kind of side, because lots of times people get, you know, not taken advantage of, that's the wrong way to say it, but like we could advocate for stuff together, even if it's just a collective for people that are, you know, just starting out, like just for advice, mentorship, or anything like that. I think one of the people talk about the tax credit lots, about like the film industry being so detrimental to it. But like for me, the start of it was, I was still in university and they had a program at SciAst. It was a trainee program. So you'd get accepted into the program and you would get to work on a show as a trainee to like learn to develop your skills. And so they had like a director one, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like that, I want to, you know, I'm going to apply and get into that and like, you know, get to like shadow a director on a real show. It's going to be so cool. And then that left. And I think that, and this is just me being jaded probably, but you know, you look at the old way it was done was, okay, get a job in the art department, get a job as, you know, if you're lucky, first aid, like an AC, like that was the creme de la creme, right? But it was like art department, PA, locations, maybe something else, right? And then work your way up. But as soon as you're like locations guy, then everyone, when they're looking for oh, we need to fill this position, it's like, oh, that, you know, Adrian did art department last year, get him again. And it's like, well, that's great. I want to work on a show. I want to make money, but I don't want to be in the art department. How do you ever get out of that cycle, right? And so it's great to have these, you know, Hallmark movies come here and film, and it provided jobs, and a lot of people got to cut their teeth on them, but they were always bringing in directors from out of province. They were bringing in DPs from out of province, and they were bringing in, the writers were from out of province. And the story was about like some love story at Christmas set in New Jersey. Is that a Saskatchewan story? I don't think so. And so it's, you know, you look at Manitoba and Winnipeg, and they have the tax credit, and they have this system that allows people to get experience. But at the same time, I don't know if that fosters filmmakers as much as it does technicians.
That is a whole pile of great there. It's such a bizarre business to be in, and it does get handled really, I don't want to say poorly, but like handled as bizarre as the business is. And yeah, they really don't foster anything. I seen the same problem. Like I kept working on these shows, doing the same things over and over and over, and realized, you know, Nick Lamb was the camera assistant, so I was never going to become the camera assistant because that jerk was sitting in that chair, right? Like, and until he retired or moved up, and he was waiting for the next guy to retire and move up. And yeah, it's just a bizarre business, and it really shouldn't be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about that stuff all the time, and it's tough for me too, because I was just at the very beginning of my career and didn't understand tax credits, didn't understand those things, right? And I only got to enjoy 3 years of that industry when things were busy, right? Like I think first season of Insecurity, they filmed 2 features right after that. Like Space Milkshake was that same summer, and I think there was one other one. Like the soundstage was just locked and loaded, right? But people were like leaving Insecurity to go work on a different show just because it was like they would go like a 1 month longer. And it's like, I don't know, like here it was so tough because like, do you really want to do, like, Nick, like, I don't know, what was it like for you? Because you'd work for what, 4 months a year, like steady, and then it would just be like piecemeal after that, like in the winter and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty. So like I got really fortunate because in the camera department, the first day, the DP hires the operator, operator hires the first hires the second, and my first Todd Irving worked all the time. Like he was on everything, so I would follow him around. So we worked a lot, but that was mainly just because Todd was so good that I just got kind of lucky. But I don't think that was
And
normal
there was only
necessarily.
like a limited amount of people actually doing the stuff Todd was doing as well, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I
um,
ever saw a different first AC than Todd.
yeah.
Like, I don't know, you know, like,
It's
and
all right.
it's tough to talk about this stuff sometimes. So I hope you don't sewer me in this show, but like, it's so different, right? Like, I'm from such a different generation than like Mark and Leighton and all those guys, and I'm sure they would be so mad at me for talking bad about it. But like, I don't care about the film tax credit because, well, you know what we need here, because you're not gonna turn a switch and they're not gonna be like, here's the tax credit back, you guys, and then people are just gonna hop across the border to come here. Like, it just, we don't have prop houses, we don't have gear rental places, like, or you got to get it shipped in from Toronto, so it's not going to happen like that. But could we advocate for Creative Sask to have 15 million instead of 6 million? And could they open a fund for 5 to 10K for first time filmmakers to get funding? Because there's no avenue for someone out of film school where you can get, if you're lucky, $1,000 from the film pool. It's tough to, and then
Yeah.
how do you make anything?
a guy you mentioned earlier, Tim Thurmeyer, used to work with 306 Productions. They tried getting so many things off the ground and just couldn't. And why? Well, because you don't have the experience. That was it. That was the only answer. And they couldn't get anything going. Tim was probably frustrated as hell. I see he's finally made his own little thing, which good on him, and working with you. But yeah, it was, I, these are the kind of conversations we should be having
Mm-hmm.
realistically. Like this
Those are a lot of good ideas too.
from three guys here who were the youth, 10, 15 years ago, and coming into it, and now all three of us really aren't working in it, aside from yourself, Adrian. You're the closest one working in it, but we all left it. Why did we leave it? Well, there was some definite issues. We talked to Leighton kind of mentioned, like, yeah, there was some issues. We didn't handle things correctly, looking back on it now. Although with that said, Leighton's probably the biggest sweetheart in the world. We really need to find some crotchety old camera guy
Yeah.
to maybe rebuttal this stuff in a good way. I actually think we should try and find like some
Yeah, that's a good
60-year-old
idea.
guy who's done it forever, who might, set us young punks straight.
Get Peter LaRock on. I guess he's not a camera guy, but I can't think of anyone more crotchety.
Oh man, that's funny.
He would set us straight too.
Yeah.
He's so smart too. Like, I wouldn't be able to, any argument he'd be able to beat me on.
That's the thing.
Yeah, like I said, it basically, Nick asked the question about your inspiration and staying inspired through it, and that's like, that's a familiar question to us. We've asked a lot of people, how do you stay inspired? And that's part of the reason, is because this industry kicks your ass.
Yeah, like for me, so many times it's just been, I don't know. I like, some days it just feels like I'm just working just to work. Not now. Like, I feel like I'm in a really good place now with the show and like other stuff. Like, I feel pretty creatively fulfilled. But like, there was a time, like my jam was like filming 1 hour long presentations and cutting in slideshows, right? And you were just doing it because you're like, you just got to do it to do it. Just get paid. Then you feel like drained, and then you get a check in the mail. You're like, yeah, okay, this is good. And you just keep doing that. It's like, it's like whatever, like a surfer or a rock climber. It's like finding these like little adrenaline bursts. It's like jumping out of a plane. It's like, how low can my bank account go before I get paid?
Oh man, good.
And then keep it from like the people in your life that need to know. It's like, oh, like, are you stressed about money? No, things are great.
Oh man,
Oh, that's great.
Well, we should let you go, seems how my battery died, and
Sounds
we
good.
got 10 minutes left in the second call.
Oh,
Nick,
so great talking with you, Adrian.
Yeah, you guys too. I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. And like I haven't watched all of them, but I haven't watched three full. Like it, you guys are doing a great job. It's fun, it's light, and it's nice to see this about like our industry here, specifically in Saskatchewan too, right? Like, keep doing it, keep talking about it, and hopefully something comes from it, even if it's just more community, right?
yeah, that's kind
That's
of the
awesome.
idea. I think we have we joke about our fan base. I'm not sure how big it'll ever get, but I mean it's good enough for us. We don't have to be as big as Leroy and Leroy.
Well, I know it's pretty tough to get up there. It was fun. Like with Flat Out Food, I thought when we first launched our social media accounts, it was like the end of January, and I was like, my goal was 5,000 like likes on Facebook. I think we have 1,500, and I was like, I don't know how people get followers. Like we ran contests, we had a company running it, posting lots, and it's just like it's tough to build a following. So like what do you have on TikTok? Isn't it absurd?
So TikTok, we're just under 215,000 right now.
Wow.
And then yeah, Instagram's going crazy too, which is boggling my mind. But
So
um
I don't have TikTok out of spite. Um,
yeah.
but so I only see like your videos on Instagram is where I see them.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I, honestly I don't know. Like cuz we've been doing those since 2017
Really?
and then
I know why. It's basically once you got the one platform to take off, everything else skyrocketed from there.
But how did you
Because
get that one platform? That's the question I want to answer.
Nick
well,
keeps telling me TikTok's easy.
well, no, I wouldn't say that. Honest, okay, this sounds so stupid, but in January, I read a book. I think I sent Emery the title of the book in a text or something like
I
that,
didn't read it.
and it was the book was like your first how to road to 1 million followers or something stupid like that. You know, one of those. But basically, the whole takeaway from the book was just come up with a plan of not of how many followers or how come up with a plan of how you're going to release your content, how often, and then just stick to the plan. And so we decided, okay, we're going to release a video a day for a year. And that's what we've been doing. We've just been releasing every day. We just put out a video.
That worked really well for the Chasing Yesterday page as well. So the more you're on it, the more actual social you are on it and engaging with people, the more it'll grow. The problem that you end up running into is that the larger it gets, like it's impossible to control. Like so Chasing Yesterday, I think is at 26, and like it's out of control. I can't imagine what 100,000 would be like.
Like so you and your the partner on Chasing Yesterday, you guys are like you run the social channels, right? Like you're the only admin.
Yep.
And then Nick with Leroy and Leroy, like it's just you guys are the only people that do it.
Yeah, it's just me. And so it's Nick and Nick. The other guy's named Nick as well.
Well, Leroy and Leroy is Nick and Nick.
Hey, inside I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And so yeah, he basically takes care of a ton of it, and he does a lot of the actual comments and all that kind of stuff, whereas all then my job is more editing the videos and
Yeah.
getting them up there. And then when I have time I'll log on, but it's I had a couple evenings where I was like trying to answer everything and I was up till like 1 in the morning, and then I was finally just like, I'm just gonna do the ones that I can do, and that's what's gonna happen.
And finding the right platform for your market, I think, is key too. So like when you look at Leroy and Leroy being short videos, kind of funny, it's easily consumable, and how Nick talks about the TikTok algorithm, it really does seem catered to TikTok. And I know at the start, like we were talking about, Nick's like, how do you get Facebook to grow? And I was like, just focus on one, like focus on TikTok, and then that stuff will come after. You take our thing with Chasing Yesterday, it's the same thing. Like, we're really hitting our demographic, right? Like, Facebook's one of their largest demographics, like 60-year-old people, and that's the exact demographic we're hitting. So and it's photo based, so not video. Like, both of us managed to really gel those platforms to what we're doing really well.
See, like, that's really strong advice too. Like, focus on one, but like understand the platform that you're trying to, like with the show, we did these vignettes, these cooking vignettes, like 2-minute videos, and we tried to make them like sleek and sexy. Like those, what are those one, like the 60-second videos, like yummy or tasty videos or whatever on Facebook. And I was like, we're going to do that, but we're going to make it look like the show. And so we did that. And I don't know, it didn't plateau. It like plummeted compared to the viewership we had when we were doing other stuff. And I couldn't tell you why. Like, I think it's great, but like, I don't know if people want that specific type of thing that way, right? Like,
where were they released?
On Facebook and Instagram. And
okay, so Flat Out Food has an Instagram one.
Yeah.
So if it was me, that would be the one I would focus on. And your plating that you guys do, so like the chef's table plating thing, I would post those to Instagram for sure. So have like a whole thing of just doing that. So super simple, something you could post 1 million of, takes 0 time to do, but I think that'll pick up. The other thing too is post like a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So actually use your phone. This sounds stupid, but create those stories and stuff, and just keep people going, and so that it's like this constant everyday push. The other reason I say Instagram is just hashtag wise. There's a lot of good Saskatchewan hashtags that you could probably get into, and that'll actually boost all your stuff.
I follow the Saskatchewan hashtags, so if anything comes up Saskatchewan, I get
so I think you guys would be really catered to Instagram personally. That's sort of how I would play that out. And then once you would grow that, maybe TikTok or Facebook. I'm not too sure where else you could. I mean, you'd obviously still work those things in, but just sort of focus on the one.
Mind your seconds, like not just seconds, but fractions of seconds when you're posting to Instagram, because every 10th of a second counts, whether somebody's scrolling in or out. So make sure your in and outs are very precise.
Yeah, like and a 30-second video will pay off more than a minute video.
Yeah.
And 15 will even pay off more.
This is good. It's funny, like with there's like those videos on Facebook, they're like the trick ones, like where a wife like pranks the husband or the husband pranks and it goes on for like 7 minutes before you even find out what's going on. And I was like, how does this have 1 million views? I hate this so much. But on Instagram, that's good advice, because we ended up titling our like the cooking vignettes that we had. So it was like Flat Out Food, the title, and then it would say like I forget what it said, recipes. And so I think we probably shouldn't have had a title. Like, we should have just came in hard on.
I would come
on
in,
the chef.
You come right, and then get
Actually,
out of it before
the other
you even
thing
know
too
it.
is when you post that video to Instagram, it comes up with that title rather than like a face or of someone or something.
I know,
and
which
people
is
are
what I like.
At that face. I know, but we're wrong. We don't matter. We are not the audience.
Yeah.
I know. I always forget that. That's why we hired a company to do that for us. But it's I don't like thinking about it. I don't want that to be my job, and yet like all the corporate video that I do is for social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really need to know what I'm doing. So that's good advice.
We're about to get cut off. Thanks again.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks again.
For a third
so
goodbye.
Good talking with you.
Yeah, and have a good night, and I'm sure we're going to talk to you again. So
okay, thanks. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Too.
Bye.